The South African Institute of Chartered Accountants is a professional accountancy body in South Africa. As of August 2013, the institute has over 36,000 members. SAICA provides support, advice and services to its CAs throughout their professional lives. SAICA members are business advisors, business leaders and entrepreneurs. SAICA members can use the CA, SA, designation, membership and qualification. To become a student and a member of South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, the candidate needs to enroll for a BCom accounting degree or an equivalent CA, SA, undergraduate qualification at a SAICA accredited university. Once the degree is completed, the student is required to complete his certificate in the theory of accounting. This course focuses on accounting, auditing, taxation and financial management. The course takes a minimum of 1 year and must be completed at a SAICA accredited university. Upon completion of CTA, the candidates are eligible to enter into a 3-year learnership with a registered training office or an approved training organization. Regional representation: SAICA is constituted of 4 local regional offices as well as 2 international representative offices, which serve members based in those respective regions. The regions are as follows: Northern Region, Eastern Region, Southern Region, Central Region. SAICA Australia, SAICA United Kingdom. International involvement: SAICA members serve on international accounting bodies including the Trustees of the International Financial Reporting Standards Foundation, the International Accounting Standards Board, the International Financial Reporting Interpretations Committee and the Council of the International Federation of Accountants. International contact and cooperation is fundamental to the standing and image of SAICA. Hence, the Institute plays an influential role in the Eastern, Central and Southern African Federation of Accountants. XAFA coordinates the development of the accountancy profession and promotes internationally recognized standards of professional competence and conduct in Eastern, Central and Southern Africa. SAICA was a charter member of the Pan-African Federation of Accountants, which was inaugurated on May 5, 2011. SAICA is also a member of the Global Accounting Alliance, a Euro-One Alliance of the World, a Euro-One registered trademark S leading professional accountancy bodies, which was formed in 2005. The GAA is intended to promote quality services, share information and collaborate on important international issues. It works with national regulators, governments and stakeholders, through member body collaboration, articulation of consensus views, and working in collaboration, where possible, with other international bodies, especially IFAC. History: the first professional institute for accountants in South Africa was the Institute of Accountants and Auditors, formed in the South African Republic in Johannesburg in 1894 with 65 members. A year later the Institute of Accountants in Natal was established. The need to regulate the profession led to the further establishment of various provincial institutes. In a move towards standardization, the first articles of clerkship were instituted in 1905 and the first journal was published in 1909. Although it did not become a regular publication till 1954, the journal was the sole communication vehicle aimed directly at members and indicated a need for unification. Between 1905 and 1907 accounting societies were established naming Cape Colony, the Orange River Colony in Natal. By the end of 1907, the Transvaal Society of Accountants, which represented more than a half of the registered accountants in South Africa, had grown to 522 members. From the earliest times attempts were made to form a national body. The first meaningful step took place on May 6, 1921 when the South African Accounting Society's General Examining Board was formed to conduct the examination process on behalf of the societies. The second major milestone on the road to unification occurred in 1927, when the Chartered Accountants Designation Act was passed by Parliament. The Act provided protection for the CA, SA, allowing only members of the then provincial societies to use it. but world and local politics at the time hampered efforts towards forming a national body, and it was only in 1945 that the Joint Council of the Societies of Chartered Accountants, which provided a forum for cooperation between the societies, was formed. In 1950 all theoretical teaching and examining was handed over to universities, but the profession retained the right to set the qualifying examination. The first CTA examinations were held in 1951. The Public Accountants and Auditors Act was also promulgated in 1951, and it brought into place the regulation of accountants and auditors in public practice. The General Examining Board continued to set the qualifying examination until 1957, when it was taken over by the Public Accountants and Auditors Board. In 1966 the National Council of Chartered Accountants came into being with its own small secretariat, a further step in the process for unification, which was finally achieved in 1980 when the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants was formed with 12 members. 1973 saw the enactment of a new Companies Act, and with it the requirement of companies to present financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting practice. The profession, together with Chambers of Commerce and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, formed the Accounting Practices Board to issue statements of generally accepted accounting practice. An era of change, with the beginnings of globalization, the profession internationally felt the need to work more closely together. This led to the creation of IFAC in 1977, and South Africa was one of the founder members. Although the first woman CA.SA, Miss Elizabeth Kruger, qualified in 1917, it was not until 1977 that Wiseman Nkuhle was admitted as the first black African CA.SA. The 1980s proved to be an era of change. While SAICA established numerous committees to improve its service to members and to set standards, the profession recognized the need to open the doors to more black and female CAs.SA. A committee, under the chairmanship of Brian Hawksworth, began to promote this initiative. In 1987 the Case Eden Trust came into being as a joint effort between SAICA, the PAAB and the Association for the Advancement of Black Accountants to provide bursaries and grow the number of black CAs.SA. The Eden Trust assisted over 100 black accountants to qualify. In 2002 its name was changed to the Felucca Bursary Fund, and it was fully incorporated into the Institute's transformation and growth strategy. In 1999 SAICA took over the role of setting the Part 1 of the qualifying examination from the PAAB, while the PAAB took over the responsibility for setting auditing standards, and with this came more clearly defined roles for both bodies. The future, the profession began a long process to revise the PAA Act in the early 1990s, and this process will came to fruition in 2005 when the Auditing Profession Act was promulgated. The process has been upset by a spate of international and local corporate failures, with the result that governments worldwide saw the need for regulation of auditors to be tightened up and became more involved in the process. Another issue that still requires the profession and SAICA's contribution is that of transformation. The Felucca Project, an initiative by SAICA to promote skills development and transformation in the CA profession, was launched in the Eastern Cape in 2002, and it was expanded to Limpopo and KwaZulu-Natal in 2004. This program is providing education support to African learners and students, and seeks to uplift communities while benefiting the CA profession. To regulate SAICA unregistered trademark efforts going forward, the Institute has now implemented a system whereby leadership issues are identified by the SAICA board and delegated to the Secretariat, so that each day SAICA adds a little more to its history. Confusion often arises regarding the differing roles and responsibilities of SAICA and the IRBA, previously the Public Accountants and Auditors Board. It is important to understand the roles of the two bodies. SAICA is a non-profit, voluntary body that provides a wide range of services to its members and associates. It is controlled by a board, elected by members through regional committees, and by bodies representing the Institute's other key constituencies such as members in business, large practices, small practices and ABASA. The IRBA is the statutory body controlling that part of the accountancy profession involved with public accountancy in the Republic of South Africa. It is important to stress that all entrants to the accountancy profession are subject to consistent requirements. Following qualification, chartered accountants entering public practice are required to register with the IRBA, whilst keeping their SAICA membership, and are governed by its regulations. Those qualified chartered accountants practicing outside of public practice are not subject to the jurisdiction of the IRBA, but are subject to the jurisdiction of SAICA. The IRBA functions in terms of the Auditing Profession Act, 2005. Its members are appointed by the Minister of Finance, and not more than 40% of the members of the IRBA board may be registered auditors. The IRBA is partly funded by fees and levies payable by registered auditors and partly by the National Treasury. The IRBA reports annually to the Minister of Finance, who then tables the report in Parliament. The mission of the IRBA, on the other hand, is to protect the financial interest of the South African public and international investors in South Africa, through the effective regulation of audits conducted by registered auditors and accountants, and in accordance with internationally recognized standards and processes. This is achieved by providing the means and the regulatory framework for the education and training of adequate numbers of competent and disciplined accountants and auditors, to serve the needs of South Africa. The board strives constantly towards the maintenance and improvement of standards of registered auditors. It protects the public who rely on the services of registered auditors and supports registered auditors who carry out their duties competently, fearlessly and in good faith. In order to ensure that all members, associates and trainees comply with the high professional standards set, SAICA provides technical support, continuing professional development, disseminates and communicates the latest information on technical developments and business trends to its constituencies. One of SAICA's major objectives is to ensure that membership of the accountancy profession better reflects the population demographics of South Africa. To this end, the Institute has a number of initiatives in place designed to increase the number of CAs, SA, from previously disadvantaged communities. The responsibility for training prospective CAs, SA, is a shared one. SAICA is responsible for the registration of trainees and management of their training contracts either in public practice or outside public practice. Trainees who do not wish to follow the public practice route may specialize in financial management. The Institute sets and adjudicates the Part 1 and the Part 2 in financial management examination, for those trainees who have opted to take the financial management route. The IRBA exercises a monitoring role over the SAICA public practice training and QEI examination processes. The IRBA is also responsible for setting and marking the public practice examination for those trainees choosing the public practice route. Trainees may only write QE2 or PPE after they have passed QE1 and upon the completion of a minimum of 18 months of a 3-year training contract. After completing their training contract and passing both QE1 and QE2 or PPE, candidates are required to register with SAICA in order to use the prestigious Chartered Accountant, CA, SA, designation. The IRBA conducts practice reviews, investigations and disciplinary processes for registered auditors and accountants. Generally, an individual registered with the IRBA is also a CA, SA, registered with SAICA and therefore must comply with the codes of professional conduct of both bodies. According to the Constitution and bylaws of SAICA, any alleged misconduct by a person who is a member of both bodies is dealt with by the IRBA, in the first instance. SAICA accepts the findings of the IRBA disciplinary process and imposes its own disciplinary sentences on those found guilty. Disciplinary matters relating to members not registered with the IRBA, and associates, are dealt with by the SAICA ethics and disciplinary process. South African designations =CA, the Chartered Accountant see also Chartered Accountant, South Africa. Members of SAICA are entitled to use CA, SA, designation after their names. The designation is associated with someone who has considerable expertise in the theory and practice of accountancy. The requirements for qualification as a chartered accountant are: education, obtain a Bachelor of Commerce or an equivalent undergraduate qualification recognized for this purpose. obtain an additional postgraduate honors degree or postgraduate diploma in accounting. Obtain a certificate in the theory of accounting in conjunction with the postgraduate qualification. Completion of a 3-year training contract selecting either of 2 routes, training inside public practice, articles with a registered training organization, a firm of chartered accountants in public practice. Training outside public practice, articles with an approved training organization in commerce and industry, typically at a large bank or corporate. Pass, in sequence, the 2 board examinations set by the IRBA. The qualifying examination has 2 parts, and the second may only be written after passing Part 1 and after the candidate has undergone at least 18 months training, the first in accountancy, auditing, tax and financial management. The second is the assessment of professional competence, which replaced the Part 2 financial management and public practice exam. AGA, the Associate General Accountant AGAs operate in a broad range of varied work activities, most of which are complex and non-routine. Core areas include financial accounting and reporting, managerial accounting and financial management, taxation, auditing, with specific reference to systems, internal auditing functions, internal control and corporate governance, information technology. AAT, the Associate Accounting Technician the AAT qualification is offered through the Association of Accounting Technicians. The range of an AAT's work will vary widely. Generally, AATs work in support positions, and some of their key functions include purchase accounting, inventory control, payroll accounting, costing and budgeting, sales accounting and credit control, cash and banking, ledger accounts and the preparation of accounts. AAT trainees are required to complete a training contract of at least 2 years and must pass an examination before they are entitled to use the AAT designation. CPA a South African Chartered Accountant, or CA, is the equivalent of a United States CPA. However, the CPA designation also exists in South Africa. This qualification was previously designated CFA. South African CPAs perform only accounting and tax work, usually for smaller entities, and may not perform auditing work. A recent legal battle between SAICA and the CPA governing body, SAICA, requested that the CPA designation be changed back to CFA because the CPA designation might create confusion to Americans who might believe that CPAs can act as auditors. Using the term CPA is also a contravention of the Audit Profession Act, which states that only CAs may use the term public accountant, or registered auditor. The eventual outcome of this dispute was that the CPA governing body changed its name to SAIPA, the South African Institute of Professional Accountants, and its members' designation changed to Professional Accountant without a corresponding acronym. The requirements to earn the designation are, 1. Academic, a degree with a major in financial accounting and with tax, management accounting, auditing and commercial law as subjects. Practical training or experience, at least 3 years under a SAIPA recognized learnership, or 6 years of relevant verifiable experience. SAIPA Professional Evaluation, this is a 3-hour examination offered twice yearly covering, 2. Financial accounting, auditing, taxation, commercial law, management accounting and practice management. External links: the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants official website, the Independent Regulatory Board for Auditors official website. References: https www.saica.co about members to bid language default ASPX, https www.saica.co Bikaminga CA 157NZA default ASPX, https www.saica.co bid language default ASPX, http www.ifrs.org members plus of plus the plus IASB Darrell plus Scott HTM, NBAA becomes a member of the Pan-African Federation of Accountants. NBAA. Retrieved June 11, 2011. https www.saica.co SAICA history 70 NZA default ASPX, https www.saica.co SAICA history 70 NZA default ASPX, https www.saica.co SAICA history 70 NZA default ASPX, Felucca CA Bursary Fund 2013. Bursaries in South Africa. The Bursary Bin. Retrieved November 30, 2012.